Unless you are 100% sure that you're going to be winning the lottery in 2026, I highly suggest you watch this video. Welcome to my 2026 work and job market predictions. If you're new here, my name is Emily Durham. I'm an internationally recognized careers coach, careers content creator, and the host of Clock In with Emily Durham, a careers podcast. I just love careers. What can I say? My first prediction is we are entering the death of personalization. When you're applying for jobs, a lot of people are going to tell you that you should be customizing your cover letter, your resume, your CV for every single job that you're applying to which I say, girl, are you crazy? But in this job market, babe, that's just a waste of your fucking time. People are telling you to customize your application for every single job that you're applying to, not because they want to waste your time, but because there's a lot of misinformation. People genuinely think that AI is throwing out people's resumes when they're applying for jobs if they exclude certain keywords or don't have certain search terms in their resume. That's not the reality of how things work. The truth is, AI is being used, obviously, in the application process, but at most, it's filtering candidates. It's putting certain candidates at the top of the pile or at the bottom of the pile. And obviously, we want to optimize your resume in order to be at the top. But you don't need personalization for every single application to do that. All you need is one really good resume that's optimized for keywords in your industry for the jobs that you're applying to, and you are more than good. I'll just say personalization isn't a really good use of your time anymore. So in 2026, you are not personalizing your resume. You are not personalizing your cover letter. You are going to have one good copy of each and use that for your applications. And all of the time that you would have spent, I want you pouring that into networking. I predict escalated accountability culture. Over the last couple of years, especially on platforms like TikTok, we've seen people post their horrific experiences with companies. And as much as I have loved watching these companies get dragged in the comments and exposed for horrible employment practices, the reality is there has been almost no repercussion for those companies. They have continued to continue on. And because more and more people caught on to the trend of sharing their bad experiences online, it's less alarming. Because the job market is so bad, a lot of us don't have the luxury of saying, oh, well, I'm not going to work at that company because I saw how poorly they treated people on TikTok. At the end of the day, a paycheck is a paycheck. It doesn't matter who's signing it. In 2025, we saw way more companies ghosting candidates, not just when they're applying for jobs, but even in the late stages of interviews. And it's no surprise, people are tired of it. They are fed up. They are exhausted. And because of that, I believe this is the year that we take exposing companies' bad behavior to a new level. I believe there are going to be dedicated social media accounts, websites, bad company lists that are going to expose poor behavior and actually, hopefully, create meaningful change. I think we're going to see more people putting companies on blast in a more direct and meaningful way and asking for proof of how they're going to improve their processes. And the reason I think this is going to happen in this year is because of this one law launching in Canada. I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of thought of starting this, like maybe a shit list monthly. If you're all of the companies that have been doing people dirty, keep an eye out and specifically tagging them saying, what's your game plan to make this right? If they're not going to do the right thing, baby, I'll do the wrong one. What this means for you in 2026 is to be very gentle with yourself and understanding that when companies are ghosting you or treating you like shit, it is not a reflection of you. It is a reflection of the culture that capitalism has created. I think in 2026, this is going to be the start of DIY work. In 2025, we saw what is now being called the death of entry-level work. There were significantly less entry-level jobs being created for new graduates and early career talent this year than we have ever seen historically. There are a gazillion different factors pouring into this, but one of the biggest ones is AI is eliminating those entry-level positions we previously saw. My first job ever was a recruitment coordinator. I basically was scheduling interviews 80% of the time. That job doesn't need to exist now that AI does. Now the issue here is how the hell is Gen Z gonna work? Like, how do you want them to build and develop careers if they can't get entry-level jobs? And also, entry-level work is still looking for 4, 5, 6 years of experience. Well, how the fuck am I supposed to get that? I believe Gen Z is so entrepreneurial and gritty and hardworking, despite what the media is trying to tell you about Gen Z, mind you. I think they're going to create DIY career paths and entry-level work. My prediction for 2026 is the rise of self-employment in a very creative way. Instead of spending all of their time looking for one full-time job, they're actually going to fragment out what they do. They balance a couple of different part-time jobs in their field, as well as doing some consulting work. And you might think, well, junior people can't really offer much for consulting. Well, that's not true. As a lot of big companies have replaced entry-level work with AI, but for small businesses or organizations that aren't operating at a massive scale, that's not always the case. Some small businesses don't have the budget to invest in large-scale AI, but also don't have the budget to hire someone full-time. They're doing something kind of in between, and that's where entry-level talent can come in. I think young people are going to go on consulting websites like Fiverr or Upwork and will contract out their services for maybe 10 or 15 hours a week for smaller organizations while they're working a couple of part-time jobs. And on their resume, it's going to be listed as their name incorporated with all of the experience under there. And boom, suddenly they have 3 to 4 years of experience without a full-time job available. When I was younger, I used to love watching Shark Tank with my dad. I was obsessed with it. I was a little business baddie even as a child. But I don't know if I love Shark Tank in this context. Prediction is that we start to see Shark Tank style performance reviews at most companies. What most people don't realize about performance reviews is that your boss isn't able to give everyone whatever rating they want on your team. Most organizations tell leaders that they are able to give out a certain percentage of exceeding expectations ratings with really good raises, meeting expectations with, an okay or maybe no raise, and does not meet expectations with no raises and sometimes even terminations. So your performance review at times has a lot less to do with your specific performance, but more to do with your performance in context of the entire team and the budget of your team. And if you're working a corporate job right now, you have probably heard your manager and the CEO of your company say things like, we need to raise the bar for performance. And it feels like the bar keeps getting higher and higher and more competitive. Because I don't think layoff culture is done and in the past and left in 2025, I believe the escalation of this high intensity performance culture is going to land in literal Shark Tank style performance reviews. Instead of you and your boss having a collaborative conversation around performance, them communicating your rating and you saying, okay, thanks, and keeping it moving, I wouldn't be surprised if companies started to say, before I tell you how you're performing, I want you to pitch to me how you are performing. I'm talking about a full-on sales pitch that is going to be directly compared to that of your peers. And the reason I think this is so different is because it's no longer collaborative, it is a sales exercise. So if I am you in 2026, I am meticulously tracking every single win that you have. I'm not saying this is going to happen for every company, but mark my words, you're going to start to feel a culture shift where performance feels more intense. And above all, I believe 2026 is the year of the office celebrity. If you're not new here, you have probably heard me talk about the term office celebrity that I coined, which is kind of cute. And I genuinely believe that in order to get ahead in 2026, you need to become, eat, breathe, sleep, shit being an office celebrity. Hear me out, because a few years ago, the term personality hire became very popular and became like a big phenomenon. The idea was you kind of wanted to be a personality hire. Everyone likes working with the personality hire. Everyone enjoys and feels warm and comfortable and easy, like it's a peer, it's a friend. We love a personality hire. People don't just want to work with the office celebrity, they want to be the office celebrity. If the personality hire is this relatable entity, the office celebrity is something much more aspirational. It's not just about being nice to work with and having a good personality, it's about having executive presence and commanding the room. The difference is being an office celebrity means everyone at the company knows who you are and your positive brand reputation, not just the people you immediately work with. And you do that through strategic networking, being a good socializer. I can do a whole video breaking this stuff down if you want. Being an office celebrity means that you communicate in a way that makes you seem very valuable at work, even at times when you're pretty junior. Corporate star power is your secret weapon, and how you do that is from how you brand yourself, communicate about yourself, and demand executive presence. Being great at what you do, being relatable, but above all, being admired by the right people, that is what's going to change your career this year. Goodness gracious. I still can't believe we're already in 2026. I am so excited to watch this video back in like 7 or 8 months and see how much of what I predicted was accurate. Did I miss anything? Are there things I wish I noticed? Let me know what your thoughts are. Like, does this feel accurate? Do we have questions, comments, concerns? Do you want me to break anything down further? These are just my thoughts, because one thing about me, I'm always analyzing what's happening in the market, and I'm like, I just want to chit chat about it with my friends. But thank you so much for being here. I love hanging out with you. I adore you, baby. Happy 2026. I truly pray that this is a year full of love and abundance, joy, and time spent away from work, celebrating what actually matters, which are you and the people you care about. Thank you for being here. I look forward to kicking corporate ass with you all year long, and I'll talk to you in the next one.